Hello, good
Hi,
evening.
good evening. Hello, everyone.
Welcome to our webinar.
Ta-da.
We have a question for you. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us which words do you find difficult to pronounce in English? Okay, and we'll see if we can help you. We can
Yeah,
break them
maybe
down for you.
I find some words difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
We say I trip on words sometimes. Like
Yeah,
trip on a word, you're walking along, you're speaking, and then you trip.
yeah.
So let us know because we might be able to help. We might not. Hey, Johnny. Hi.
Hi, welcome. Introduce yourself and Johnny, tell us which words do you find difficult to pronounce in English? I'm sure there must be some.
Mm.
Hal, do you want to introduce yourself first of all?
Sure thing. Hello, everyone. My name is Hal. I am from the south of England, a suburb near to London, on the outskirts of London. I'm 26. I have been in Bologna now, where I am now. I've been in Bologna here for 6 months. And Sole, hey.
Hi,
Nice to
Sole.
see you again.
Nice to
Thank
see
you
you.
for joining
We are
us.
good, thanks. I hope you're well too.
I'm doing okay today. A bit
Yeah.
tired today,
Me
which in
too.
quarantine I always feel like it's unfair. I'm like I could at least have energy.
Yeah.
I'm not doing much, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. How are you guys too?
Yeah. Let us know how you are as well. How are you doing, Solly? Yeah, that's it. And I'm very happy to be here.
My name is Emily. I'm sure Sole knows. Definitely. I'm from Leicester in the UK, which in itself is quite difficult to pronounce.
Yes. Oh my goodness, we could do also
Place names.
Shire, but if it's in a word, we don't say Shire. Worcestershire, Yorkshire. That is a classic. Really difficult.
Changes. Yeah. So
Leicester.
Leicester. Yeah. So if you guys want to tell us which words you find difficult to pronounce in English. Hal, is there anything that you think is particularly difficult to pronounce?
Actually, just because we just touched on it, it's really true that place names, especially the Shire thing. I have heard people whose English is brilliant and they're wonderful, and I obviously understand what they're saying. It's fine, but they will say Worcestershire or Yorkshire. Yorkshire is probably the best example because it's a very big county in the UK. It's quite famous. I don't know, as counties go, it's quite well known. And we say shire, Yorkshire, Worcestershire.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's not really the Shires. The Shires sounds like the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
It reminds me of the hobbits that live there.
Yeah.
Worcestershire, Gloucestershire, Yorkshire.
Oxfordshire, shire. And yeah, Gloucester. Wow, what a word.
Gloucester. Very similar to Leicester because you just pronounce Gloucester.
Yeah, and another place here, Johnny, yes. Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
Yeah, kind of like, let's see if I can write it phonetically.
I used to have a joke because I used to go to the Edinburgh. But me and my friends, I used to, when I was younger, go to the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah, the festival.
Every year, the festival. And we used to just, because it's quite a long word to write as well, we used to just write even EMBAR, Ember.
Yeah.
It's more Edinburgh than it is
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Edinburgh. I know this is really difficult. Everyone struggles with this. Edinburgh. Yeah. So we have Leicester, Gloucester, Edinburgh, Shire.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't really use the word Shire anymore.
Not as in, only in the name. Like
only in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Sounds very old-fashioned. Okay. Any other words that you guys find difficult to pronounce?
Did you have some?
Yeah. So I thought of the words where we have to be careful with the stress.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's have a look at this one. Management. I always feel that students tend to put the stress in the middle. Yeah. Management. But actually, we should be saying management with a strong stress at the end, or manager.
Yeah. Management. Manager.
Yeah, manager would be the person. What about you? How can you think of any more?
We're thinking because the stress changes in this one. So we have photograph. That is photograph. Photograph. Stress on the first syllable. Photograph. But photographer. Photographer. It moves to the second. So the person is a photographer, and the thing is a photograph. And it's quite annoying that it moves.
It's strange. Photograph and photographer. Okay. Wow. Soli has a couple. World.
No. World.
Maybe
World.
Maybe think of it more as an E. World.
But it's also that last sound is quite tricky because it's
old. Yeah. World. World. The second one. Yeah. Again, like this thought. I guess similar to catch and caught. Think and thought. Fight and fought.
Yeah.
So the words that are spelt in this way, O-U-G-H-T, are usually ought. English. Yeah, so something like this.
And then an amazing word, which is clangor.
Clangor.
As in like a loud noise, right? The clangor. But we don't use it that often.
Yeah, it's not a very common word. Clangor. Yeah, I guess it's l and g together. Clangor.
Clangor. The clangor of what would I even use that for?
I think of the clangors as the TV show.
Clang. I think the TV show. The clang is probably more common. The clang of like metal. When metal hits metal, it clangs.
It clangs.
So in the kitchen, if you drop a pan in the kitchen, it clangs. Horrible noise. Clangor, less so. We use it clangs, or it makes a clang, but not clangor.
Yeah. The next one, I don't know if you mean gauge, maybe.
Yeah.
This one.
Gauge.
To gauge something.
To gauge something.
Yeah, it's like gauge. It's really difficult to do it phonetically. Gauge. Yeah.
Also, the meaning is quite tricky. To gauge something, again, it's not that common, sorry, but it's nice to gauge.
To get a feeling
like
for something.
In a way, yeah. Assess. Yeah.
Assess.
Roughen. Roughen. Roughen.
Think of a
the
dog.
GH becoming F. It doesn't make any sense. It's written GH. Roughen.
Roughen. Yeah, roughen. Johnny had some others. Image and imagine. Yeah, perfect. So we have
because the A sound changes quite a lot, right? Image. Imagine.
Question from Soli. What's the difference between Sean and Sean?
None.
Yeah. I don't think there's a difference. I think it depends. Some people prefer to be called in a particular way. So I've heard people say, I want to be called Sion.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe in particular countries. I don't know.
Okay.
But in England, I would definitely say that it's the same. Sean and Sean.
Sean.
Nice. So yes, sometimes somebody might say, I prefer to be called, and pronounce it in the way they like. But technically,
or Gaelic names. Gaelic names always get me. Oh my goodness. Like
really?
Sian, which is spelled Sian usually. But I wouldn't even, guys, don't worry, because so these are names that are originally from Irish Gaelic, another language. They're quite common in the UK because there's a big Irish population, and often they're spelt in incredibly, well, I say confusing, but they're very difficult to understand how to pronounce them if you just phonetically look at them, no?
Yeah,
For
definitely.
example, Xi'an, yeah, Xi'an.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, even we don't know that.
No.
You just have to ask the person, how do you pronounce your name?
Sorry, says Xi'an sounds cooler. It does.
Yeah.
That's why I thought of Xi'an, which is a Gaelic name, which is maybe more similar. But
Yeah.
I think it's a woman's name usually.
Yeah, I think there's also Siobhan, which is spelled in a very
Siobhan, which is spelled in a
strange
very
way with
different
a
way.
P. Yeah, so if you're ever unsure about someone's name, it's good to ask them
Just ask.
because they may have a
Exactly.
preference to how they pronounce it. Just thinking about any others, I always hear students get confused with these two: recipe and receipt. So yeah, the receipt is a little piece of paper you get in the shop after you buy something, and the recipe is when I cook, the instructions and the method. So yeah, we have recipe and receipt.
Yeah. Don't ask your partner for the receipt for a meal.
Yeah.
Ask them what was the recipe, not give me the receipt. No.
Yeah, the receipt is
Yeah,
I want to know.
Yeah.
Anything else, Hal, that you can think of? Or Sole or Jani? Any other pronunciation difficulties?
Oh, goodness. Thorough. Thorough.
Yeah, thorough.
Which is a lovely word. If you I don't know, work in a thorough way, it means you are very careful, right? You do everything from top
very
to
precise.
bottom, precise.
Thorough.
And the adverb would be thoroughly, but it's a strange one when we see it. It looks scary, I think. Thorough.
Yeah, thorough.
Exactly.
Yeah, how on earth do you pronounce that? Excellent. One thing I want to talk about is report. Okay, which we would pronounce the end. To report. Which often, again, the stress comes out funny. Report. We would say a report.
Report.
Maybe also similar, engineer.
Oh boy, yeah.
It's the opposite. People often stress the beginning, but it should be the end. Engineer.
Hiccup.
Yeah.
Hiccup. But I don't know. I think I spell it. Do we now also just spell it CCUP?
I think
Is that
so.
wrong?
Maybe.
Right.
I think most people would spell it like that. Let me check.
Yeah. I think, Sole, you're right. That's where it's from, that spelling. But now most people just write HICCUP, I think.
Yeah. I think here it says there are two spellings.
Okay.
There is the traditional one.
Which is the one Sole wrote.
Yeah, then there's the modern version.
Yeah.
Yeah, hiccup.
I hate hiccup so much. Hey, Sergio. Hi.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. I make confusion with the pronunciation of heart and earth. Yeah.
Heart. Earth.
Yeah. So think of the first one as reading heart. The second one is earth. Heart and earth. I think a big difference is the vowels. I think when you, even like, for example, hungry and angry, it's really important to think about the vowel sounds because they're not the same. We have an and an a. So hungry and angry.
Yeah.
So yes, the difference is the H, but also the vowel sound is different.
Right.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend.
Sorry.
I definitely recommend practicing at home.
Yeah, definitely. And in most cases, I don't know how to put it, the vowel sounds often convey the meaning in English, as in Italian as well. And if the consonant is a bit off, it's fine. We can understand. But if the vowels are off, then often it's very difficult for someone to understand you. So
Definitely. I think the vowels are the most important thing. And we often focus on the consonants, but actually
yeah, yeah.
it's the vowels that make the little difference that changes the meaning.
Industry.
Yeah, the first
That's
one. Industry. The difference is if you have the adjective.
Adjective, right.
Industrial.
Industry, industrial, industrialist. Right.
So it's a little bit like photography. Okay, what are difficult for us?
Us, but it's hard to say because we were thinking about this, Solly, and in your own language, it's a bit of a mystery. In English, I have, and in goodness, you can imagine in Italian, I have soft R's. We say my R's are quite soft. Not really,
Yeah.
I hope not, but they're quite soft. So I have problems with words that have lots of that noise in it. Yes, thank you.
So,
Perfect
for example,
example.
these, I would agree with Hal. Narrower.
Rural. It becomes, if you listen, it gets towards rural, because if you have a very, very soft R, it sounds like a W. So rural
Yeah.
becomes rural, narrower, more
Yeah.
narrow. Yeah.
I think in English, definitely the R's are a big deal for us because we don't usually pronounce them.
No.
So when we need to pronounce them, we don't know
Yeah.
how.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, shall we have a look at today's focus? We're talking about false
Happily.
friends.
False friends, not the people.
Yeah. Hal, do you want to read for us?
False friends and common errors.
Perfect. So let's talk about a false friend. So obviously there's a literal meaning, a friend who is not honest, who is maybe two-faced.
Two-faced, yeah, lovely.
Two-faced.
Yes.
What is the metaphorical meaning, though, Hal? What does it mean when we talk about language?
In language, it's a word in another language, and you see it and you think, oh, how nice. It's the same. It's very similar to the word in my language. So that's friendly, it's helpful, it's easy. And then later, you realize it's false, it's two-faced, it has a different meaning, sometimes completely different meaning, not always, sometimes it's subtle, but often a completely different meaning. And so it's a false friend because it looks helpful, but it's not, it's dangerous. And
Yes. And I think
trips you
often
up.
we don't check. We assume that we know it. But we need to check, even if we think it's true.
Yeah.
Might not be the same. So, for example, for me, sensible and sensitive. When I came to Italy, sensibile and sensitiva really confused me.
Yeah.
So sensible is in English is someone who is very serious, who doesn't take risks, very careful with their life, don't do anything stupid. And sensitive is someone very emotional. So they get upset easily. They have a very good empathy with other people. This is sensitive. But I discovered that in Italian, sensitive means somebody who speaks to dead people.
Right.
So something quite different.
Yeah.
Whereas sensible is the emotional one in Italian. What about you, Hal? Have you come across any words in Italian that sound like English words?
Loads. I mean, the other thing to say, because false friends is quite specifically when there's quite a direct clash, right? When there's quite a direct problem. Like the famous one is factory, factory, and fattoria. Tell me. Farm. But even maybe also, especially at this level, there are like subtleties in the language where maybe you see a word in Italian or in English and you think, yeah, okay, I get it. But actually, there are very subtle shades, as we say, shades of meaning, which if you don't look it up, if you're like me and you feel a bit lazy, then you'll lose it. unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Need to be on the ball. Abstemious? That seems astemio. Okay.
Astemio.
Yeah. What is abstemious? Do you know? It's a very big
it like-
word.
Presumably comes from to abstain from something, which means like, I think it means like not to partake, like not to take part. Ah, okay, right.
Sober, frugal. Okay.
Yeah, frugal. Right. You don't indulge in things. You don't
Yeah,
indulge
again,
in
it's
things.
not really a common word in English. I think we just say
Yes,
frugal.
actually, Scully, sorry. The next one is always happens.
Yeah. How do you want to explain what's the meaning of actually in English?
Actually means in reality. So like, I thought today it would be sunny. Actually, it rained. In reality, it rained. And to give the idea of at the moment happening now, we would probably, the easiest adverb would be currently.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
So yeah, actually doesn't really connect with time. It's not important. Did you go to the supermarket yesterday? No, actually, I stayed at home.
Right.
So it could also be yesterday, not necessarily now. One other one that I always see is eventually, which I know in Italian is like maybe it will happen. But in English, it's not maybe, it's definitely. It's like at the end.
At the end.
So I studied and studied, and eventually I passed my exam. So it's much more concrete than in Italian. Yes. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to some examples of some bad translation. Hal, do you want to read for us?
Sure. When Pepsi entered the Chinese market a few years ago, the translation of their slogan, Pepsi brings you back to life, was a little more literal than they intended. In Chinese, the slogan translated to, Pepsi brings your ancestors back from the grave.
Very. Okay, Jenny has a good one. Morbid.
Yeah.
That is soft.
Yeah.
In English, morbid.
It's a completely different meaning.
Yeah. What is morbid in English, Hal?
It's something to do with death, basically.
When people talk about dying.
Yeah. If you make a comment. I mean, we use it also now to mean, I don't know, like very dark or depressing.
Yeah.
But it literally means, it has something to do with death and dying.
It's really different from Italian. So this is the first time I was learning English. I was always wrong with cold. To say caldo. Yeah. Okay.
Because actually, also, this is a kind of false friend.
Yeah. So I think in Italian you would say tomb. In English we can say tomb as well, but I think tomb sounds like something very grand.
Right.
Like for a king.
Yeah.
Grave is like
where we put dead people in a grave. At a funeral, you will usually, in the UK at least, go to the graveside, stand around the grave as the body is going into the grave, and it's pronounced like that, grave. Okay.
Not grave or something else. Yes. So yeah, this is the place where we bury people who die.
We should say that you can sometimes use grave as an adjective in English in a similar way to Italian, like the situation is very grave, which means the situation is very serious, very heavy, but it's not that common. It's not as common as it might be in Italian. Yeah.
And if you see it as a noun,
yes,
it means a place where you bury people. Yeah, tomb raider.
Tomb raider, exactly. She's raiding a tomb.
Johnny, also rumor. Yeah. Instead of noise. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Spreading rumors is very different from being noisy.
Yeah.
You can spread rumors quietly too. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So General Motors was confused when their new car, the Chevy Nova, wasn't selling in South America. The company finally realized that Nova in Spanish translated to "it won't go." Sales radically improved after the car was renamed the Caribe.
There we go. So
Yeah.
like, hey, you're looking for a new car? Try the new "it won't go." But all your motoring needs, no.
I guess this would be similar in Italian. Non va.
Okay. Nova.
Doesn't go. Yeah. So big mistake here. Okay. Hal, do you want to read the next one?
Sure. Sometimes it's one word that changes everything. When Parker Pen marketed a ballpoint pen in Mexico, its ads were supposed to say, "It won't leak in your pocket and embarrass you." However, the company thought that the Spanish word embarazar meant embarrass. Instead, the ads in Spanish said, "It won't leak in your pocket and make you pregnant." Wonderful.
Wow. Jenny's saying he can't hear us anymore. Okay, Sole, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you
Both of
see
us?
us? Yeah, one of us or both of us or anything. What can you see right now? Tell us.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, good. Estate seems like summer. Yeah, in English, estate, I guess, is like your house, your property.
Like very grand and important usually. Like in Jane Austen, they go to the estate of whoever, lady. Darcy's estate, exactly.
Yeah, the ground.
But we do use it, it's quite common because we use it in the phrase estate agent. An estate agent is someone who sells property, who sells houses, houses and flats. So
yeah,
use it there.
Yeah, and also patent seems like driver's license. Yeah.
Nice. But in English, if something is patent, it's like clear, right? Like obvious.
Yeah, really obvious.
Yeah.
Or you can have a patent. If I invent something, I can apply for a patent. Yeah. Okay. Sole and Sergio, you can hear us. Maybe Gianni, if you try going out and coming back in. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this embarrassing sentence is very different in Spanish, also from Italian, to make someone pregnant. So yeah. Can you guys tell us what is the meaning of to leak? So we have the word to leak.
Oh yeah.
Does anyone know? It won't leak in your pocket and embarrass you. It's really annoying when things leak, especially when you have a bag and maybe a bottle leaks in your bag.
Nightmare.
Yeah, really stressful.
Worse is a packed lunch. That's
definitely.
Yeah. Lose what? Yeah.
Lose, in particular, what substance? So a bottle can leak in the kitchen. My tap or my shower in the bathroom can leak.
Also, surgery. But specifically with what's coming out. We use it as well very often in the media with like information.
Yeah,
like to leak information. To leak information.
Yeah. Okay, so when we talk about to leak, we're talking specifically about liquid usually. That comes out when it shouldn't.
It's not supposed to.
So it's usually dripping or lots of water, some kind of liquid. So in this case, ink.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like an emission of liquid that comes usually through a small hole or a small gap. And we use it metaphorically to talk about when someone maybe in the government gives information to the media, they leak information that isn't supposed to be public, but it becomes public. So to leak information. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's used in these two situations, for liquid and metaphorically. I would say, yeah, really similar to emission. Emission, I would say, maybe is more for gas
Gas.
rather than liquid. The car emits CO2, for example.
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let's have a look at these marketing blunders. What is embarrass? Okay, Hal, do you want to explain what is embarrass?
I thought maybe you would try and embarrass me. Jenny, good. Okay,
Welcome back, Jenny.
Welcome back. To embarrass someone, maybe the easiest way to explain it is, when you do something and you go red, we say you blush, your cheeks go red because you feel maybe it's similar to shame, but less extreme. You feel a bit silly, you feel a bit stupid, you feel sad that it happened, and you maybe want to apologize. You are embarrassed. Okay.
Yeah, you feel stupid.
Embarrassed. You feel stupid. Ugh. Yeah. And the noun is embarrassment.
Yeah, like definitely when you go red, you do something and everyone's looking at you.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, got it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think it's quite similar in Italian, I think, the pronunciation. But very different in Spanish, as we discovered.
As we know now.
Okay, so welcome back to Gianni. So here we have marketing blunder. So blunder is like a mistake, a silly mistake.
Oh yeah, good word. Blunder.
Blunder. Yeah. Hal, do you want to read the first one? Frank's homemade sausages.
Sure. Frank's homemade sausages. You will love our delicious sausages. We don't add any contraceptives, so not only are they delicious, but they are also healthy for you.
So can you guys tell us what is the false friend in this paragraph and what should it be? What
Any
word should it
ideas?
be? I guess this is quite an important one to know.
This one is of all of these, yeah, the most calamitous, the biggest problem, I think.
Definitely. If you go to a shop and you ask for one, it could cause confusion.
Or you might be in the wrong shop.
Yes.
Really.
Okay, so contraceptives, good. Can you tell us what the correct word is? What do we need?
What is the idea here? Not contraceptives.
Yeah, Sergio, contraceptives. Yeah. So yeah, contraceptives are obviously things that help you not to get pregnant.
Right.
So there are different types, but different things that help you to not get pregnant.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we can say additives. Additives, yeah. Good. Is there another one we could use instead of additives? Anyone know? Fake ingredients.
Fake ingredients.
Very literal. You probably wouldn't see it on a packet, though. Fake ingredients. If you have a packet of food, you might say additives, or does anyone know? I think it's worth saying that in English, to preserve is quite general. I preserve food. Whereas in Italian, when you talk of a preservative, it's the equivalent of a contraceptive in English. So to preserve is just like to keep. To preserve my honor.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep something in a good state, it's in a good state and you want to keep it that way. Anything, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So we could also say preservatives, but this means things that keep it in a good state, not contraceptives. Okay, and then we have number 2, home decor. This week only, our pillows are 50% off. The pillows are green, morbid, and medium-sized. Perfect for indoors and outdoors. Come and see what we have in store. I think it was Gianni who mentioned this before. Maybe this one.
Yeah, we touched on this.
What is the false friend here? Morbid, yeah, perfect.
Exactly.
And
You don't
soft.
want any morbid pillows. Or
Yeah.
maybe if you're like a goth,
Maybe you like
You have
vampire
some-
films.
yeah, and you have some like black pillows with a skull on them, and they're morbid pillows.
Yeah, but most
But
people
most people, no,
want soft pillows.
exactly.
Yeah, Sergio, morbid, perfect. Okay, Hal, do you want to read the next one for us?
Sure thing. Peter's fine shoe shop. Come into Peter's to find your next pair of shoes. Our shoes are high quality leather, sleek and sensitive for all occasions.
What is the false friend here? I think maybe it's worth mentioning that fine in English can mean high quality. That spelling, but high quality. We often use it to mean like, I'm okay.
Yeah, but we can also say like fine dining is high quality food, fine dining. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, in some situations it means really high quality.
Good job,
Sensitive.
everyone.
What could we
done.
use instead? What do you think of a replacement? I don't know if you want sensitive shoes.
No. I don't want shoes that make my feet feel sensitive. That is, make my feet feel, I don't know, painful in some way, irritated. Yeah, exactly. Sensitive skin.
Yeah, so in English we do say sensitive skin. It's something that is easily irritated.
Right.
Comfortable. Possible. Here we have for all occasions. So if something is good in every situation, what word do we use? Begins with an S. Does anyone know? Something that is good in every situation. So for example, if I wear trainers, this is not good for an interview. It's not this word.
Right. It's not a good idea. It's not. Ooh.
Suitable. Perfect.
Nice.
Excellent. Another word. Okay, yeah. Suitable.
Like it fits, right? It goes well in all these different occasions.
Solo was asking for another letter.
Okay.
Sergio was very quick. Suitable. Yeah.
Exactly.
Suitable or appropriate for what occasions. Then we have Venus vacuums. Our vacuums are specifically designed to suck more dirt out of your carpets, ensuring a good polite every time. Okay, guys, what is the false friend?
Do you say vacuum or Hoover?
I tend to say Hoover.
Hoover.
And you?
I say Hoover.
Yeah,
Hoover,
I think it's more
Hoover.
common.
Yeah.
Even though technically it's the brand, we always say.
Right? Yeah.
I think vacuum sounds quite old-fashioned. I'm
The
vacuuming.
vacuum cleaner. Yeah, I'm vacuuming.
I'm hoovering. Yeah, perfect. So the problem, guys, is polite. What do we need instead of polite? Does anyone know? Maybe it's also worth mentioning polite and educated. Educated is used differently in Italian. Hal, do you want to explain polite? What is polite?
Ooh. Polite. Politics? Sorry, I just saw Charlie's comment. Not a political Hoover, though. You don't want a political vacuum
Yeah,
cleaner.
be careful. We're talking about a vacuum, so cleaning your floor.
To be polite is to not be rude. Rude is the antonym. It's to behave in a way that is kind, respectful. Usually that there's an idea that you're following kind of social rules. You're behaving in a way that's within certain social rules.
Which is accepted.
Which is accepted, right, as a kind of standard model of behavior. Whereas educated in English is kind of, well, I was about to say it seems obvious, but it's directly related. I know it's not. It's directly related to education, which is your school, your university.
Yeah. If you study a
you
lot.
learn, you're studying. If you study a lot, you are educated.
If you don't study a lot, you are uneducated.
Right.
But you could be uneducated and polite.
This is true.
Or educated and rude.
Right. And I think polite, like its etymology is actually, if I remember rightly, is related to the idea of being clean, but now it doesn't mean that at all in English anymore. It just means
completely
you're behaving well.
Different. Yeah. Policy, not exactly. It's actually more simple than you think.
Much more simple.
A good clean. Good clean.
We just want the English word, so to speak.
So as Hal was saying before, this word that's difficult to pronounce, a thorough clean.
Yes.
Thorough clean. It cleans everything, every part of the carpet.
Yeah.
Thorough clean. Okay. Exits. Okay. Let's have a look at some examples. So if you guys want to tell us which is the correct choice of word for each sentence. So number 1, I can't watch movies about the war. I'm too, and I cry too much. This is true for me. I can't watch movies, sad movies.
Sad? Sad movies. What about like horror films?
No, also horror films.
Okay.
Off limits.
Yeah.
Especially at the moment.
Yeah, I watched a horror film last week, and I quite like horrors, but it was a very stressful experience. Nice, guys. Good job.
Perfect. Definitely sensitive. I'm too sensitive and I cry too much. Hal, do you want to read number 2?
Sure. Number 2, the park is littered with garbage. Someone should really it up.
Nice phrasal verb here.
Yeah, and also I like the passive is littered with. Littered with. To be littered with.
Perfect. Clean.
Good job. Yeah, that one's simple. Good job, guys.
Yeah. And number 3, the firefighter rescued the child. I guess here you could use both, but here we're talking about firefighter, so someone who does more than normal.
Yeah, and we're saying, it's amazing. How did he do it? I could never do it. He's so brave. Exactly.
Yeah, so really
we
can
Danny.
Both, but here maybe a firefighter is courageous. Is a courageous person is brave. Hal, do you want to read number 4?
It is to cover your mouth when you sneeze. Well, these days it's probably more than this.
Yeah,
it's practically legally mandated, but yeah.
Yeah, perfect. It's polite. Yes, it was polite. Now it's necessary.
Yeah.
Number 5, the film was so he nearly fell asleep.
Maybe also number 5, because it's interesting in English, if we want to talk about the way in which a child has been taught to behave by its family, by his or her family, his or her parents, what would you say? I would probably talk about upbringing. Like their upbringing is their kind of their family education. So that's the word that we want sometimes.
Yeah.
Or we can I don't say this, I don't think, because I think it's maybe a bit snobbish, but sometimes people say, oh, they're very well brought up. These children are very well brought up, or they've been badly brought up.
Yeah, they have a good upbringing.
They have a good upbringing or a bad upbringing. Yeah.
Yeah, so these guys are all saying boring, excellent, Can you guys tell us what is the meaning of annoying? So obviously we know boring, but what does annoying mean? Anyone tell us? What does annoying mean? Yeah, so the other day I watched a really boring film. And I did fall asleep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't annoying, it was just boring.
It was just boring. Yes.
Irritating, perfect.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenny. And so they said sit. So my family has a farm where they grow vegetables.
Yeah, perfect.
Confusingly, can you guys, factory farming does exist as a phrase in English, a factory farm or, factory farming.
Yeah, when you farm on an industrial scale.
Huge scale. Like I always think of poor like chickens in cages. Hundreds and hundreds of factory farmed chickens, whatever.
Yeah, when you kind of treat the animals as products, not as things that are alive. So yeah, I think lots of people now are trying to stop factory farming, or at least the big factories. Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Okay, guys, we have 4 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, please do ask us any questions now. Any pronunciation questions, any clarifications about false friends? Let's have a quick review. Hal, is there anything that you think we should go back and review?
Maybe let's talk shire on its
Yeah.
own, but otherwise share in the word itself. So in England, a shire is an old word for like an area, but we say Worcestershire, Gloucestershire, Yorkshire, shire.
Yeah, Leicestershire.
Yeah, sorry, of course, Leicestershire. It's doubly hard. I can imagine sometimes people say
Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
Yeah, Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
This one, I think Johnny asked us Edinburgh.
Yeah. Edinburgh. Good. And then Jani also picked up on image and imagine. Where the stress and the sound shifts along the word. Imagine, image.
Definitely. Also, these ought, court, taught, fought, bought, thought. All of these kind of words.
Yeah. And then Sergio picked up also heart.
Yes.
Heart and earth.
Yeah, so an R and an Excellent. And Jenny was saying industry. Yeah, industry. But industrial.
Yeah, nice.
So Liz says moonshare.
Moonshare?
What is moonshare?
What is moonshare?
Maybe it's a place.
Is it a place? What an amazing name. I've never heard of it. But exactly, if it is a place, Solé, or even if you imagined it, we would say moonshare, not moonshire. No.
Maybe she means moonshine. Moonshine is like the light of the moon, moonshine. But yeah, moonshare sounds really cool. Where do you live?
Wait, moonshine is also the like alcohol, right? Like during prohibition, when you get exactly. It's what do you call it? Like forbidden alcohol that's been made illegally.
Moonshine. Yeah, for the alcohol. But moonshare, wow, nice. I'm gonna write a book about moonshare. Excellent. Okay, guys. 1 more minute. If anyone wants to ask any questions before we finish. Again, just remember. To leak. So when the liquid goes out, or
when we give away information that is supposed to be secret, we leak information.
Excellent.
There we go, Solly. There we go. Everyone learns one new thing every day.
Yeah, next time moonshine.
Moonshine and then moonshare. Moonshare.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you for interacting and have a lovely evening. We hope to see you soon.
Pleasure, guys. Take care.
Bye. Have a nice evening.